This episode is brought to you by Hyperice, the leader in advanced warm-up and recovery technology. They have tons of innovative products, like Venom-heated wearables to help soothe sore back muscles, Normatec compression boots to speed up recovery and increase circulation, and Hypervolt massage guns to improve mobility. Loved by athletes like Naomi Osaka and Erling Haaland. Try them yourself. Get 10% off your order with the code MOVE at hyperice.com.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Scouser Tommies on Anfield Index and Anfield Index Pro. Don't forget that if you like to listen to the whole of the podcast and you don't want to be interrupted by ads or anything else, that you can subscribe to Anfield Index Pro. Loads of value for money. You get plenty for your money, including all the podcasts that we do. There's loads of them. Just something for just about anything. If you're a Liverpool fan, there's just something you're going to enjoy listening to, and lots of it. More details at AnfieldIndexPro.com. Go and have a quick look if you can. By all means, if you think you can afford to support us, please do. We'll always try and get some stuff out to you for free, or at least part of it for free. We do our best to do that. But if you can support us, please do. I think I said it last week. It's better spending the money on that than on the Amazon get your ads taken off your thing. I mean, I since that came along on Amazon, I haven't even bothered watching it. But I don't know whether that's partly because of all the footy. Jay Reid's with me today as always. Just so many games on at the minute. I mean, you can have all the subscriptions you want to the streaming services, but when you're a Liverpool fan lately, I think you're just basically watching loads of games. And most recent one, the European action, a little bit of a marginal win. But before that, of course, the City game, which we were all looking forward to, all wondering how it was going to turn out, wondering what it meant for the season. And it feels like a long time ago now. It wasn't. It was less than a week ago, but it's going to be a long time until we carry on with the season. But as much as it ended in a way that saw us end the weekend lower down the table than we started it, I still feel that result was good for us, and probably, but of all the people looking at that result, we probably came out the best from that. I think Arsenal would have preferred maybe one side to lose. I don't know. Who knows? But for us, we got the point. I can't see Arsenal beating City. Might be wrong. I can't see them going all season without dropping points. I just feel like we're still going to be in the driving seat soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, we hold the better cards, but, we hold a fair few good ones in our hand is probably the best way of putting it. I think last weekend was a situation where it was not a must win, it was just must not lose. Going into that City game, regardless of any other situations. And, Arsenal managed to get themselves another win by fair or foul means, whether that buys into the media narrative. Probably not, given, I think it was given about 10 seconds of airtime on Match Today that Kai Havertz shouldn't have been on the pitch for 2 blatant yellow card offences, and then, you know, a mistake by a referee the week before who misinterpreted his rules or laws of the game, however they want to word it, you know, somehow influenced the goal that we scored a minute and 50 seconds later after, you know, so much had gone on in the field of play. That was given basically about 3 days of media coverage, but I suppose, you know, that's just the way the media narrative is and whatever. But we had to just get through that game, you know, given the squad situation. You know, City, arguably that's their best 11 on the day. Some would argue maybe 1 or 2 players here or there for them. That's just purely based on personal opinions. But, you know, if that City team lined up in, you know, what could be the Champions League final for them this season, I don't think you'd see many City fans disputing, you know, who was in the starting lineup. And if you look at our team, we're missing, you know, 4 or 5 starters from our, you know, best 11. And then, you know, personal opinion aside, again, you know, in Andy Robertson, another lad who was sat on the bench, who some might have as a starter, some might have as a squad player, depending on what you want. And Mo Salah, of course, didn't start the game. So we were severely weakened by what we were going into the game with. But, you know, had you have offered us a point beforehand, you probably would have, I'll reluctantly take it. You know, and as the game panned out in the first half, you probably would have thought, well, you know, it's probably 50-50, 60-40 maybe in City's favour on the base of play. So, yeah, we would take a point now. But as the game transpired in the second half and the dominance we had, and obviously we'll come to the grievous decision at the end, you know, you do kind of left field with a bit of a sour taste in your mouth from the outcome of that result, which, you know, across the basis of the season won't be a bad point, but, you know, in previous years gone by, we've lost league titles by a point or 2, and you just think if you'd have beat City once over that balance of a season, maybe then draw with them, it might have just tipped it in our favour. And hopefully this is the, you know, not the season that'll be the case, but yeah, I still think we hold a good chance of basically deciding our own destiny in the league anyway. Yeah,
and I think it's easy to forget as well that we're actually still level on points with Arsenal, but due to the absolute collapse, was it Sheffield United? Shipped so many goals, and yeah, what are they now? 7?
They played the bottom 2 and put, I think it's put 11 or 12 past the bottom 2.
Yeah.
So that's how you make it up.
There's 7 points, 7 goals better off than us, but, you know, there's 10 games for us to catch that up with as well, and that's the other part that gives us a bit of, you know, it's easy to kind of forget that the goal difference is what's keeping us apart at the moment, and I think, yeah, we're good at shipping goals at the other end. I mean, clean sheets aren't something we're bothered about these days, it seems, but it doesn't matter, does it? When, I mean, we'll come on to the next game shortly as well. We're definitely capable of scoring goals, and I think there's still the chance that it could come to that. My hope, though, is that Arsenal and City take points off each other or something when they play, and that as the season goes on, they're dropping more points, because I'd quite like it if we didn't have to get to the last game of the season with half the fan base needing some kind of medical intervention to get them through it because of heart problems or whatever. But we'll see. That's how football is. That game itself, though, I mean, that was definitely one to get the heart rate up. I mean, just quickly on the lineup as well, if you'd said to me sort of at Christmas that we'd get to this point of the season, and when we play that game, it'll only be a draw, would you take it? I'd probably be thinking, even with the league table it's always, I'd be thinking, like you just said, I'd be sort of thinking, oh, come on, surely it's time we actually get the 3 points against them, you know, make a change from, you know, looking back on the season and thinking, oh, if only we'd beaten them that time. But how many times have we done it and we thought, if only the ref had been different? I think the team we put out, for it to draw against the side, as you say, about as strong as City can get, and that's the side, of course, that when it is weakened, it's spent so much money that they've still got some decent quality backup. We're down to the bare bones, and we have been for quite a while. And what I'm loving about us at the moment is the fact that whoever goes out there just puts in a decent shift. The kids are getting better when they're playing. And I mean, you mentioned Andy Robertson as well. I get what you're saying when someone says, what's your personal choice? I mean, let's say Liverpool make it last game of the season, Europa League final, what's your final 11? Everyone will have a different answer. But a lot of that will depend on what kind of players they've been like. I mean, Andy Robertson, at his best, you'd never think twice about sticking him down on the team sheet straight away. But when he's not at his best, then maybe that's different. But how much of that's down to injuries and things, so there's lots that could come into it. That's the other side to it. When we are getting these top players back, these big name players back, we're not getting them back at 100%. Mo Salah's looking dangerous after last night, but at the weekend, it was just, more of a cameo for him to be involved. And Darwin looks hungry at the moment, but you're still worrying how long is that going to last because you're having to overuse players. So, I'm hoping the injuries come to an end, but this is what the trouble for us did. These are the things we've had to battle this season. We've had to battle, not spending a fortune in the transfer window, which we thought was going to be a big problem. We've overcome that by unearthing some gems from the academy. We've had to overcome, crazy amount of injuries. Like it's off the scale. There's been plenty of stats spoken about how bad we've been in terms of injuries compared to other players, other teams with their players, even though the usual, trolls on Twitter and elsewhere will be sort of making out that Liverpool have hardly been touched by injuries. Yeah, okay, then whatever you think. But the other thing that's been bothering us all season, and it's cost us so many points, and we tend to there's times when it's not cost us points because we've just thought, what the hell, are we up against the 12th man yet again? Let's just deal with it and get something from this. And we've done that time and again, but you can't do it all the time. And you're right. I mean, it was another game, from the off, Michael Oliver seemed to be letting, I don't know, there was days gone by when you'd watch a derby, Liverpool-Everton, and the ref would say, and I'm talking kind of 80s more than anything now, the ref would kind of be thinking, there's no way I'm getting any cards out here early on, because if I do that, there'll be no one left by the end, and so, you'd see a rough and tumble derby game where everyone was, really sticking the foot in. But you don't get that as much nowadays in football. I don't think you do. Yet somehow Michael Oliver decided it was a good day to do it because maybe, I don't know, a bit of Gulf solidarity. I'm only joking, but it feels that way when it's something like it's the City players that are doing the fouls that should be yellow cards, and these cards don't even seem to be with him. And it sets the tone for the rest of the game. Then they seem to get away with so much. I mean, I thought Walker should have been off. If you had all the cards up. And fair enough, if you'd have got a yellow, maybe you'd have eased off. But again, that's the thing. If a player's on a yellow early on because he's been rough and tumble, whatever, then they've got to temper how they play the rest of the game or they're going to be off. And that's the other advantage you get from them being punished how they should be. And it just feels like, I don't know, that's the only thing I can give him. That's the only sort of explanation I can give to Oliver is he was thinking, if I treat this like a derby, I'll just let things go. But he just didn't, I don't know. It seems to be one-sided to me.
Even in derbies, though, you like to see, a little bit of leeway, as they say. But there seems to be this unwritten rule, and, referees will allow so many things. So, like your first foul or two is free, as they say. So you can get away with one, and usually after the second foul, the referees had the word, and then your third one, you're in the book. But City seems to get away with 3 or 4 before they believe in having a word with them.
Yeah,
and credit to Manchester City, which is hard to do at times. As good as the players that they've got a few snides in there, and Rodri, king of the snides, and Bernardo Silva not too far behind them. But you've got players who go under the radar, and maybe it's the fact because of where the passport's attached to them. Maybe Ben White want to reconsider that one, but that's a different topic. But Kyle Walker, John Stones, Phil Foden, they get away with little things in there. And, sorry, Mike. They give him that one, or sorry, Mickey, whatever they call Michael Oliver these days. I'm sure they've probably got a nickname for him. Ask
Ollie, isn't it?
Yeah, ask whatever they call him in Qatar or Abu Dhabi when he goes and does his freelancing work over there.
It'll be
Al Mickey, Al Ollie or something like that. It'll be whatever he's saved in the phone under Sheikh Mansour as. But that's another one again for another day. But you always do feel as though English lads get away with it. And we've had it ourselves over time. Look at how much shit James Milner got away with. Little snide fouls that Jordan Henderson, when he could be bothered or could get near people at times to throw a snide one in. It would be like, they put the arm around the ref and, it's, look, come on, give me a bit of leeway here. I'm English, or in Milner's case, I'm 74 and, I've been playing that long. I can't actually do what I used to do, but give me 1 or 2 ref and you go, okay, I'll give you that one. and it just seems to fly. But last week, I think he allowed that game to, escalate into a situation where it got out of control in terms of the pettiness, the petty little fouls. There was nothing really overly nasty that went on in the game, but he allowed it to become that way, and you're sort of setting your rod for your own back then in that regard. And then I think he could have done more, and then maybe that unwritten rule that you can't give a yellow card in the first 15-20 minutes maybe applied to later on in the game, where you can't give a key decision, whether it be in the 98th minute or not.
It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
Hey there. Did you know Kroger always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower than low prices? And when you download the Kroger app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Kroger today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Survivor 46 is here, and so is On Fire, the only official Survivor podcast, and we have a twist this season. The winner of Survivor 45, Dee Valladares, will be joining us every week.
We're going behind the scenes of the biggest moments, the how and the why things happen, and the strategy and analysis you can only get from someone like me, a Survivor winner.
Listen to On Fire, the official Survivor podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Yeah, I mean, there was so many. I mean, I the thing about Walker that stuck in my head was he put a really meaty tackle in on one of ours, and I think it was a definite, if you're being kind to the ref and saying he doesn't want to start dishing cards out too early, it's definitely one where you stop him from whatever he thinks he's going to do, and you just pull him to one side and you tell him not to do that again. And if he does, it'll be in the book. And if, of course he didn't get the telling off and he did it again not long after. But the thing that wound me up most about it was, and maybe I've misunderstood what he meant by it, but there was, as he was running away, you could see on the replays, after the replays, you could see him running away, the cameras were closing in on him. And he sort of did this gesture that might have been saying to his teammates, come on, we've got to, fist up, sort of showing your face, sort of saying, come on, lads, we've got to do this. But to me, it almost felt like he's saying like, oh, really hit him there then. I might be wrong. It just felt like it was sort of him sort of saying, let's be aggressive with these. We're going to get away with it almost. I might be reading too much into it, but I don't think I am completely. I think there's definite aspects of that. And obviously him being an England international, I suppose you get a bit more leeway. But I mean, we could be here all day talking about the ref, but I think another quick one for me was that I know this thing about double jeopardy. And if you foul someone in the box, you're not going to get a red, for a professional foul because of the double jeopardy rule if a pen's awarded. But a professional foul isn't the same as sort of, to me, I thought Ederson had done enough that even if it wasn't sort of as a professional foul, even if it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity situation, if a midfielder had done that in the middle of the park, and there was definitely no goal scoring opportunity, I think he'd have gone for that kind of challenge. Maybe it looked worse than it was because Darwin was at pace and he just went flying after it. But to me, that should have been a red card on its own. And I know he went off and they had to bring the sub-keeper on anyway, but the sub-keeper would have been coming on as part of a 10-man team instead of 11. And then, as you say, right at the end, penalty king gets kicked in the chest and doesn't get a penalty for it. And I just don't understand that one, because it's not only with the time of the game, like you say, which I think is a nonsense excuse. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That is a disgraceful foul, whether it's in the first minute or the last. And there's no doubt there'd have been a foul awarded if it had happened in the centre circle. There'd have been a card dished out for it. How can it not even be a foul? And there's no excuse. And again, we said it before, no explanation. If there's a good reason for it, tell us.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the double jeopardy thing paid dividends in the fact that hopefully Ederson's injured. Maybe that was the small consolation we take from that, like how that will affect the rest of the season with the now, international break coming up. It could just be a case that maybe City are doing the old Ferguson trick and playing the mind games because Kevin De Bruyne has miraculously got an injury as well. And I'm sure there's another City player who's pulled out of it. I think it's Rodri who's pulled out of international duty. Funny how that all works on the eve of an international break. But that foul at the end, like as I always say, from my vantage position, for 2/3, 3/4 of the way back in the Kop, like to see anything that goes on at the other end of the pitch is tough at times, given the fact it was a scramble in the penalty box. And all we could see really was McAllister gone down. Obviously, the crowd are vociferous. It's 97, 98 minutes, whatever it is. And, tensions and emotions are running really high. And you're appealing for Everton, of course you would be, but you don't actually know what you're appealing for because it's so far away. You're just going with the motions of everyone else in the crowd. And, you think like, okay, well, maybe they don't look at it. Okay, it's not being given. And this is the feeling that you get at the ground. It's like, we didn't get that one, but you don't know why you didn't get it. That McAllister's been down. And when you come away and you actually see, clips of what actually is going on, you are really left with a sour taste in your mouth because, as you say, that's a foul, 99 times out of 100 anywhere else on the pitch, unless it's, Tyrone Mings on Cody Gakpo and John Brooks, who conveniently is the referee against Manchester United this weekend, is refereeing, and you can scrape your studs down Cody Gakpo's chest and that's fine. So maybe it's just an unwritten rule in the PGMOL that, high feet on Liverpool players is allowed. But it does leave you feeling like, the Arsenal game with the Odegaard handball, which, you then found out a few days later, there was a terrible error or whatever within the VAR process, much like the Tottenham one. And I was half expecting to have an apology issued this week by the PGMOL that the process or whatever was incorrect and they got it wrong, and they were going to issue an apology, but apologies don't give you points. And I suppose the fact that they haven't, it's kind of a little bit better in a small way, that they haven't admitted that they made it wrong, and you just accept the fact that it's just shit and maybe corrupt.
Yeah.
But it does leave you that little sour taste in your mouth, and going into a cup game this weekend and the international break when there's very few league fixtures involving those teams at the top. We could have potentially been sat there a couple of points clear where now we're level pegging, as we said, albeit the goal difference. But I suppose it's what the media would like. I did have a feeling, regardless of what that foul was, like this was how they wanted it. This is what they wanted. Like the media and the people behind the scenes are loving this. The fact that there's goal difference keeping two sides apart and then a point keeping the other team behind them. This is what they want. They don't want anyone getting away and running away with it because look at well, on the flip case, Germany, Bayern Munich have robbed the league for 9 years or whatever, 10 years in a row, and this season Leverkusen have flipped it. But there's so many leagues around Europe where you look around and you see PSG have walked the French league, PSV Eindhoven have walked the Dutch league, Real Madrid look like they're going to walk Spain. It becomes boring, and this is probably why the Premier League is the most watched league, because it's so competitive at the very top end. Obviously, it's competitive in other sections of the league between those sort of mini leagues, but it would have maybe got a little bit out of hand had Liverpool gone on and won this league by 3 or 4 games to spare. The old Super Sunday final day, flipping between the games on the channel sort of situation, wouldn't have been allowed to manifest. Maybe they would have had to just do the race for 4th place or something like that. Yeah,
that's it. And I think if you sort of compare it to a Hollywood movie, if someone was making a Hollywood movie of a league season, then what you'd want is you'd want it to go all the way to the end. That the last bit of the film is literally the winning goal going in the 99th minute or whatever, obviously from Darwin, and that wins you the league. But the last thing Sky won is the kind of Hollywood movie where it's exciting for halfway and then it sort of ends with like a bit of some sort of text at the end that tells you what happened, because it's not worth filming it, because it'd be just like a procession. So I get that. Obviously they love that. And I wonder if that is why sometimes they don't kind of push things and say this is wrong. But again, I've said this before, I think their product is going to look tarnished if they keep raising the fact that there's so much dodgy decision making going on. And I think the best answer for us, it would have been, it's mad, isn't it? 2 points. I would have felt so much more comfortable. I wouldn't be saying, oh, we're definitely going to win the league, but I'd almost be maybe almost would be saying that, because that's how much of a difference those 2 points would have made. And of course, you get given the pen, you've got to score it, but I'd have backed him to score it. But, there's nothing much we can do about that now. And I think the best way we can deal with that situation is just to go out into our games and say, we might be up against a dodgy ref. We might be playing with so many players missing. We don't know what the outcome's going to be of, what kind of man's on the VAR, whether the VAR is going to have the sense to say to a ref, come and look at a decision like that again, whether refs are going to go back and give yellows for fouls that should have been given. We've just got to get on with it and say, look, chances are 90% chance we'll have a ref who's awful, who messes up and gives bad decisions that go against us. It's just how it happens. We've just got to get on with it and win the game in our own time. And I think in the European match last night, it was a 5-1 first leg lead, and you still think to yourself, if that side have got anything about them, we've the top of their own league. They've definitely got dangerous aspects to the play. They definitely worried us a little bit away in the away leg. And I thought to myself, you know what? If they can get out here and score a couple of goals early on, they could start making us be a little bit worried. And although I didn't feel like we're necessarily going to go out, it could have been a less than comfortable experience if they sort of came out with the right attitude. I'm not saying they didn't come out with the right attitude, but we came out with an attitude of stuff that we're going to actually make sure that you don't get into that situation. I can't remember. And I know, on the TV, McManaman was mostly sort of making it down to errors on their part, but I don't think it's just that. We were waiting to pounce on any little errors that they made, and we didn't just pounce on them. We capitalised on them as much as we could. We were ruthless. Sparta Prague, definitely, I don't think they're as bad a team as we made them look when you look at that scoreline. I just think it's the perfect answer to when you've got games where refs are clearly not on your side. Just get out there and annihilate the opposition all on your own terms.
Yeah, and I think had we sort of approached that game last night in what we all expected would have been a heavily rotated team, it might have been a bit of a closer affair. I think it was a bit of a shock actually when that team dropped.
Yeah,
the lineup that was out there was like, he's taken this strong, but I suppose we don't know, behind the scenes what's going on in terms of, the sports science and the medical advice, and Klopp is a bit advocate of rhythm, isn't he, within players? And for the likes of, Robertson just coming back from injury not so long ago, Szoboszlai's just come back, Zala's just come back. You kind of expected those three to feature for the minutes and just, to get them in the rhythm. Mr. Buzzword, as it is, to to play, but then you would have expected more of, McConnell, Clark, who else have we got? Like Kate Gordon was on the bench, maybe Jayden Dans would have got a start. You kind of expected all that to feature. And the fact that they never was a bit of a surprise, but then I suppose if we then go to United the weekend and we go in there sharp and all those players who performed well last night go and do the same on Sunday, Klopp can turn around and say, well, we had to give them, in a week of horse racing, give them a pre-run, get them out there and just give them a run round the track and make sure they're prepped and they're ready for the bigger occasion. And maybe that's what it was, in the case of Salah, getting him out there, a goal and 3 assists, Gakpo picking up a couple will do his confidence no harm. Darwin again on the score sheet and Szoboszlai back on the score sheet. It's good. It's good to keep that momentum running. But as you say, I don't think Sparta are that bad, but they played into our hands and they made it really easy for us. And I think, not too many times have we seen this season us go out from the off and sort of, press and push a team into suffocation at times. And we've often said, we've sort of took a back step and allowed teams to sort of come at us and see what they've got. And then we were like, right, well, now we've let you have a go. Now we're going to have a go and we're going to show you that we're better than you anyway. You beat you. Which kind of felt like last weekend against City, albeit, the quality of Man City at times is significantly better than many others. We did sort of invite them on. And then we got back into it. And then the second half, we did, annihilate them with only apart from putting the ball in the back of the net. So, if it comes to this weekend and Klopp think, right, well, you've got two sorts of approaches there. Let's go with the Thursday night approach. Let's go with we're going to go after you because you're okay, but you're not very good in terms of Manchester United. And if you just attempt to sort of play out from the back with the standard of players that you've got, we'll just go after you. And wouldn't it be nice if we sort of reversed the ball draw that we had at Anfield? And I know we've still got them in the league to come in a couple of weeks' time, but if we go out and sort of put a marker down on them in the cup now and sort of, draw a line in the sand and say, well, this is what we can do, and we're gonna put to bed your chances of any trophy this season because this is literally all they've got to play for. So, potentially their cup final, maybe a bit of naivety, but if we go with that approach, I don't see anything other than, a victory coming back in our favour.
Yeah, and I would say at the moment, and every time I sort of say anything about I'm touching wood, it feels like we've got some good firepower at the moment in terms of our injury list. You look at the sort of we've obviously got players missing, but we've got a decent number who should be able to play a part in the game against the Manx. So you hope that I don't want to sort of tempt fate a little bit by saying I'm not worried about them going forward, but after the last time we played against them, I'm not worried about them going forward. But maybe that's because we didn't actually see any evidence of them even wanting to do that last time we played them. It's going to be interesting, but I think last night it was clear that I don't think Salah was meant to play a whole game because of stuff Klopp said beforehand. But Clark picked up an injury. But yeah, you could see, there was clearly planning. I know that Klopp actually got a yellow, didn't he? Because he complained because instead of letting us get the substitution done that we planned, which was for Virgil to come off for Kwanzaa, about 65, 66 minutes, the ref kind of let play go on. The sub didn't get made and Kwanzaa got a yellow, which in European competition can be quite, it's quite expensive, isn't it? You only need 2 to miss a game. So I'm not sure when they get reset, but, it's not good for him and no wonder Klopp was fuming. But again, it was part of the plan and you can kind of look at that and maybe think, you're getting an idea of the lineup, which, with Gomez going off at half time, it feels pretty obvious he's going to be involved, but we don't know where. It could be left, right, or in the middle of defence. It's interesting, but this is one of the silver linings to the cloud of all the injuries we've had this season is we've been able to get different players doing different things and getting, there's more options for Klopp for what's left of the season. But Bradley, again, he played a full game, which I thought maybe he'd have been one of the ones to come off, but you've got to think at his age, playing 90 minutes is, less less of a struggle to recover from than maybe some of the other players in the squad. You know, he should be fine to play on Sunday if we wanted to play. But one of the frustrations I had on the coverage, and I don't know if you've seen the coverage off BT, is after the game, they got him as the interviewee, if you like. So they stuck him some headphones on and handed him a mic, and they're asking him questions. And he's only a young lad. He's not been in the limelight much at all, has he? And they're asking him about what he sees for the rest of the future. And they're just trying to push him to say that Liverpool are going for a quadruple. And he kept sort of coming back and saying, we're taking one game as it comes, we'll see where we are at the end of the season. And in the end, he pushed him so much. I think they said to him, so you going to win the quadruple? And he went, that's the plan. And you felt, I get what he means. He means we're going to take one game, every game as it comes. We're going to see where we are at the end of the season. If you just take each game and win it, you're going to win all four things, aren't you? Kind of thing. So I get where he's coming from on that. But it felt as if they were pushing to get him to say that we're going for the quadruple so that if it doesn't happen, they can turn around and say, yeah, you were going for the quadruple, but it didn't work out. I just don't see the need to keep pushing him, and he's only a young lad. Maybe I'm being, a bit oversensitive here, but I just think, again, we're on about media narratives, and you feel like this is an example of where they're trying to set us up to have a go at us later on. And I hope that we answer him by shoving it down the throats and winning all four.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of one cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Don't you love an extra $100 in your pocket? Have a TurboTax expert file your taxes for you by March 31st to get $100 back instantly. Because no matter what moves you made last year, TurboTax makes them count. That means getting $100 back and 100% accurate taxes, only from Intuit TurboTax. Must file by 3/31. Credit only applicable to federal filing fees with TurboTax full service. Offer can be modified or terminated at any time.
Get ready for family fun that's out of this world at Big Air Trampoline Park inside Fieldhouse USA at the Polaris Mall. With over 40 attractions included in the admission price, there's something for everyone. From birthday parties to toddler time, and even daily deals like Mega Jump Mondays and Wednesdays, 2-for-1 Tuesdays, and family fun packages on Thursdays and Sundays. Big Air Columbus does it all. Big Air Columbus, where the fun never ends. Visit BigAirUSA.com/Columbus for details.